Hi everyone, and welcome to And So On Knitting Edition. My name is Lisa, and today I'm showing you all the knits. So it has been a bit of time, and I have done a ton of knitting, and so I have lots of things to show you. The first one is this sweater. So this is the Avec free pattern that she put out. I think it was just before Christmas. Yes, because I cast it on Christmas Day. So this is the Tresckow Jumper, and it is a free pattern. Now, I'm gonna put in some pictures because it's kind of hard for me to show you sitting here, but it turned out super cute. And this actually, I think, would be a great first sweater pattern if someone wanted to give a sweater a try and they were a little nervous, because it's worsted weight, so it goes by really quickly, and it's cropped, so you know it is not quite as much knitting as some other things. Also, the little eyelet increases are really cute. Yeah, so I love this. I made it from, let's see if I have a, so I made it from this Vitalana DK, and this is a worsted weight combo of merino, cotton, and alpaca. This is from KnitCrate, and here's a full one. I essentially knew that I was going to love this one, and so you might know that I'm an ambassador for KnitCrate, and so they do send me a crate every month, but I don't know what it is. It's random. I can't choose, and I knew that I was going to want to make something out of this because I could just tell I was going to love it. So I ordered myself 2 extra boxes in this color. So this took me three skeins, 3 skeins. And then this is the one that they sent me in the green, and I'll show you something I made from that later. So this is, sorry, it's DK. It's DK, 48% merino, 20% alpaca, and 30% organic cotton, and it's 250 meters. So yeah, so I got this out of basically 750 meters. And this is actually not just what I have left. I also did a hat for Audrey out of it, but I'll tell you about that in a sec. So one thing I did differently is it's supposed to have garter at the top and garter at the cuffs and at the bottom. And I didn't really love the look of it. Also, the way the pattern was written, it wasn't so clear. It basically said, I think I told you this last time, but it basically said like rows 1 and 3 purl, row 2 knit, and I'm kind of used to 1, 2, 3, like the 1 and 3 part was odd, and so I just didn't notice it, and I only did 2 rows of garter, so it was really rolling, and I didn't love that. So in the end, I did pick up and did a couple rows of ribbing, and then I decided to stick with that. I did a twisted rib here, and I also did a twisted rib on the hem. Now also, this is got a slightly lower back, which I love, and the front hits me right on the waist. I think I did add an extra inch to what they initially suggested just because I am long-waisted, so I wanted a little more length in that. The only thing that I'm a little nervous about is this neckline is kind of wide, and I'm a little worried about it stretching out, so I might put a piece of ribbon or you know, organza or tape at the back to keep it from stretching out. But that said, I've worn this a ton and I haven't had any problems. It's so soft, it's like wearing a sweatshirt. That's what it feels like. I have a little tank top on underneath it now, but I've worn it directly against my skin pretty much every time, which I don't generally do with my knits because it literally is soft as a sweatshirt. So I had this leftover yarn and I had this leftover yarn, and my daughter loved this, and so I made a hat for her called the Bankhead Hat by Suzy Gourlay. Also a free pattern, I'll put it below. Really recommend this pattern. Quick as pie. I literally took 2 nights and I did Lily's hat, and then I made one for her best friend, a matching one. So I don't have them with me because they're wearing them, but I'll put in a picture of Lily wearing hers. She loved it. Her best friend was thrilled. And actually she told me that she was walking out of rehearsal for the musical, and one of the boys who goes to another school said to her, "You do know that you're wearing the same hat as your friend?" And she said, "My mom made that hat." He goes, "Really? She knit it?" And she said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Wow, she's really talented." So she was thrilled. And then Audrey also wanted a hat, but Lily didn't want it to be the same color as her and her best friend. So I made it out of this, and then I still have this much left. So, and then for this one that I have left, I think I'm planning to make leg warmers for Lily, although it's starting to get warmer here, so I might just hold on to this until next winter and make a few more hats. But so super squishy. Another finished object that I have that I can't show you in person, I will put in a picture, are these socks that I made. And I think I did show them to you as a work in progress last time. I used this beautiful yarn from Liz. This is her cashmerino base. And it is so soft. It's beautiful. And I did in the end buy the Fish Lips Kiss Heel pattern, which is totally worth it for $1. It's, I mean, just really great to have as a resource. And the only problem is that I measured for it, and when I finished it, they were way too long. They were good, like the heel was about 1 inch too long. I'm not quite sure what I did wrong in measuring. I don't really know. I have very long feet, but they're very narrow. And so I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I also did them toe up, which I think probably makes it more difficult as well, because when you're doing cuff down, you can just try them on and you'll know, right? Whereas I like to do the toe up because then I don't have to kitchen or stitch at the end, and I think it's a cleaner look. However, so I did them and I put them on and I'm like, oh, they're so nice, but they're too big. And I'm like, oh, the problem with like 2 at a time is great because like you do the 2 at a time, you finish, you're done. The problem is if you made a mistake, then you've made a mistake on 2 socks, not just 1. And so I kind of went back and forth. I'm like, oh, should I rip them back or should I just leave them and just make them as over socks? I threw them in the dryer to like shrink them up a bit. I worked a little bit, but not much. And then I had friends visiting this week from Toronto, and my friend Jackie, at one point I looked at her and I was like, what size are your feet? And she said, size 9. And I go, and she goes, 9, 9.5. And I was like, and not many people have as skinny feet as I do. I have very skinny feet. I was like, try these on. And like, it was like Cinderella, the socks fit perfectly. She tried them on and I was like, okay, there you go, pair of socks. And she was thrilled. She loved them. She's like, I've always wanted handmade socks. And she took a picture and sent them to her husband. And, but yeah, I managed to snap a photo or 2 before she took them with her back to Toronto. So I still have this, and I actually have another small one. So I actually think I could probably get a pair of footies or, you know, like little socks out of this. But it's so soft. Part of me wants to make like just a quick little cowl or even a little hat. I also am debating getting even smaller sock needles, like 1.75s or 1.5s. I guess I'm just a really loose knitter, and I just can't get the socks. Like I'm doing 56 stitches on a 2.0 and it's still not small enough. It's not snug enough. Oh, I'm starting to get sun here. The sun is coming up over the building on the other side, so I'm gonna have to hurry or switch lighting pretty soon. Yeah, so I might switch to a smaller sock needle, just because I love making socks, and I just find the ones that I make are not small enough gauge that they feel like real true socks on my feet. They feel like over socks or bedroom socks or, you know, what do you call it, boot socks. They don't feel like socks that I could just wear in my shoe. And I think part of that has to do with the gauge. Okay, I'm gonna change lighting 1 sec. So my last one is also a free pattern, and this is the Reedcutter Shawl by Norfolknots. And am I holding it the right way? Oh, I'm holding it backwards naturally. So let's see if I can get back far enough to show you. I have not blocked this yet, so it's a little bit bunchy, but not too bad. You can see that it's basically just alternating. So you've got stockinette on this side, garter on this side, and then further down it alternates so that the stockinette's on this side and the garter's on the other side, and then it goes back again. One thing is I messed up once, and I got 1 garter row in here and realized that I had made a mistake and had purled back, and I was like, whatever, forget it. I'm not going back, I'm calling that a design feature. Anyway, very easy. It's 1 skein, so it's one of those great ones for, you know, those special skeins that you really just want to see that beautiful pattern. So this is my La Bien-Aimée. La Bien-Aimée in the cashmerino base, and I can't remember the name of the colorway, but I'll put it below. I bought this at Barcelona Knits from Amy, and it was one of those things that I just looked at it in front of me, and it's not at all my usual color scheme. Like, I'm not generally drawn to greens or yellows, and I just picked it up and I went, this is unique and beautiful, and I want to make it. So I bought it, and I was originally going to do the Herbivore Shawl by Stephen West. So I cast it on. It took me like 5 tries to cast it on, and I started it, and I actually even forgot to mention it in my last podcast because it was like on a shelf and I hadn't touched it. And I'm not really that kind of knitter. Like either I want to knit it and I knit it, or I don't and I frog it. I don't generally have languishing whips. But there was something about that pattern that just did not engage me. I think it's because in general, I like to kind of have to focus a little bit on a pattern, but I like time when I'm not focusing, when I can do other things and like listen to podcasts or watch videos or just think. Like, I don't like being so tied to a pattern, and it was not intuitive. Like I recognized there was a pattern to that pattern, but it just wasn't jiving in my brain. And so I frogged it. Yeah, I frogged it, and I was a fair way in too. But I was like, you know what? I'm not enjoying this. And for me, this is about featuring these beautiful speckles. Like, look how pretty. And I can't tell you the joy. Like, it just kind of reminded me of the joy of knitting, that I was knitting and I just see these pops of color just kind of conveyor belt past my knitting, you know, and seeing like one color kind of build onto the next, and the way they looked next to each other. And there were even a couple of like really saturated blues and reds, and like, you know, like just those little things. Like, I don't know. It just brought out the joy of knitting for me, and it was very simple. So this is a great pattern. I totally recommend it. I would make another one, and I wear it. Let's see here. I just wear it like this, and I've already received so many compliments. I just wear it like that. Sometimes I try and get it over my shoulder, but because of the cashmere, it's so lovely against my skin, and yeah. I love it. Okay, works in progress. I only have one. So you might remember that I had this beautiful yarn that I got from Holst Garn. So this is interesting actually. So I have 2 different yarns here. I have the Super Soft and I have the Titicaca, which is the 100% alpaca. So what I decided to do was skein up, wash, and dry the Super Soft because I wanted to get a feel of what it was like. And it's amazing how much it plumps up. Like, it plumps up like crazy. And I also then did the same thing with this one, which is the Noble, which is merino with cashmere. And what I realized is that the gauge is completely different. Even though they're both listed, I think, as light fingering, they're not the same. So I don't really think they would work in the same sweater. You could maybe get away with it for, you know, just a couple of like few rounds maybe, but not as a color work combo, I don't think. So the bright feather that I was thinking of doing was out. So I literally was spending a ton of time just like figuring out what do I want and what do I want to make and etc. And what I realized is that I have a lot of pullovers now. I've probably made 4 or 5 of them just in the last year. And I made 1 cardigan, but I figured going forward in Spain, we have really cool mornings and evenings, but the daytimes are starting to warm up. And I feel like my sweater weather is starting to dwindle. So I thought I really want a cardigan that I can throw on in the morning when it's chilly, when I'm taking the kids to school or whatever. I thought that would be really practical. So I looked at a whole bunch of patterns. I went on the library app and I got books out, and I really wanted to try and find a free pattern. Not that I have a problem paying for patterns. I've bought a lot of patterns, but I thought, well, let's see what I can find, because I really just kind of wanted a basic cardigan. Long story long, I did not find what I wanted. And so I ended up buying the Petite Knit balloon cardigan, the balloon cardigan by Petite Knit. And I'll put in a picture. It's just that classic, but with extra style to it, right? And the balloons and whatever, the sleeves. And so I cast that on. So here's what I have so far. I'm mid-row. That probably wasn't the best idea. I should have got to the end of a row to show you, but yeah, here it is. So I've got a fair way. I think I'm about 5 or 6 rows from separating for the sleeves. And it's funny because you start with the neckband. You do like 1/2 of the neckband, and then you pick up those stitches and do the other half of the neckband. So at one point, all I had was like this strip this long, and my friends who came to visit were like, "Oh, what are you making?" I was like, "It's a cardigan." Clearly, can't just look like a bookmark, not a cardigan. But basically, I had done that much. But this has been about a week, maybe a little less than a week of work, and I didn't have a ton of knitting time this week. It's quite woolly. It's got a woolly feel. Originally, I think you're supposed to make this with one fingering and one silk mohair. So clearly the alpaca has a little more weight than the silk mohair, so it might not have the same look exactly as the picture. It's not gonna be quite as drapey. I did go down a needle size because I wasn't hitting gauge. Which generally I have to go down a needle size pretty much always. But I think it's gonna be beautiful. Like I do really like the pattern. It's fun to knit and quite intuitive, which I like. It is knit back and forth, so you are purling a lot, but purling doesn't bother me. If you haven't seen my video on how I knit, I'll link it below. And I actually don't mind purling. It's when you do combination knitting, it's almost easier than the knit stitch, the purl stitch. So, and very, very fast, clearly. So I'm getting through this quite quickly. So that's my only whip. Let's go to acquisitions. I don't have a ton of acquisitions because I realize that sweater season is ending and I'm probably not going to be acquiring much yarn, although I am looking forward to doing some summer knitting, like to exploring linen and such. I haven't done any of that yet. We'll see how much I enjoy that. But I do have my KnitCrate from last month. So sort of similarly, they send me one for free, but I also purchased another one, and I ended up with 2 different colorways, but I kind of feel like I may have stumbled upon a fade. So let me show you. So this is Brooklyn Boy Knits for Knitology. So KnitCrate has now brought on Knitology as their main source for yarn, and Brooklyn Boy Knits dyed these colorways. And so here is the natural. So with KnitCrate, you choose one of three palettes. So there's a warm, there's a cool, and there's a neutral. So this was the neutral, and you got 2 different colorways that you could do something with. And there was a really cute, let's see if I have it here. No, I don't have it with me. There was a really cute 2-color cowl pattern. So these were the 2 in the regular color pattern, in the natural, and then these 2 were the vivid. So this is the vivid indeed. No, it's like blowing out. Yeah, super vivid. Not generally my color palette, and I was planning on gifting this, and then I thought, wait a second, this could be a really cool fade. So if you can see in the middle, the purples and the greens of the 2 center colors, or colorways, really do overlap. And I thought that could be a really, really cool fade in worsted. So I've been looking at patterns, and here's what I'm thinking of. So there's the Simple Edition sweater by Stephanie Lofton, and I had picked that up when it first came out on discount, and I thought that could be a really cool V-neck fade for a pullover. And then the other one is the Cali, which is by Barocco, and I thought that would be really cool as well. I'm really trying to like use different patterns, like in terms of like different shapes and stuff. I don't want to just knit the same, the same sweater over and over again. So I'm really trying to find kind of different shapes. And I thought this could be cool with the turtleneck portion at the top and working down, oops, I've got it backwards, and working down, and then maybe just having a little bit of this bright orangey color at the bottom. I don't know. If you have any other ideas, let me know. And as always, that KnitCrate link is below. If you want to try it, it's $5 and free shipping worldwide, and you get 2 gorgeous skeins of yarn. So the last thing I have to figure out plans for is this beautiful combo of, this is the Hoskarn Noble, and this is the Hoskarn Titicaca. And if anything, this is almost even softer than the pink, if that's possible. I know they're the same, but it just feels softer. So I've been knitting it up. You can see it's been frogged a couple times. I've been trying to use different gauges and see what comes up. I've gone back and forth. I've even thought of knitting it like 4-ply or 3-ply. and so that it'll go faster and it'll be ready and I'll be able to wear it this season. But then again, if I do it like this, it'll be lighter. It's definitely lighter than and softer than the Super Soft. So I think now I'm gonna go with the Holiday by Aerie, which is the one that I bought on her birthday sale. And I think it's just a nice classic that will fit really nicely in my wardrobe. So as of now, that's what I'm gonna make. You know, who knows? And then the very, very last thing that I have to figure out something to do with is this beautiful yarn by Fru Valborg. Yeah, so I love this. I just don't know what to do with it. I don't know, like I think part of me really thinks a ranunculus would be a good idea because I can probably get a long or at least like 3/4 length sleeve ranunculus out of this, and it would be a great pop of color. Then part of me wants to get some silk mohair and strand it to take down the colors a little bit, but then what's the point? Why buy like gorgeous bright colors if you're just gonna dull them down with mohair? Yeah. So that's more just me musing. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure, we'll have to see. So yeah, that's all the knitting for me this week. And I will be back when I have something new to show you. We'll see what comes up. I hope that you guys are doing well. I will have some more sewing coming up for you soon. I have 95% finished my coat, and I have finished a couple of other things. So I've got that coming up very, very soon. I hope that you guys are doing well, and I will see you when I see you. Bye.